How to become a professional soccer player. So every single day I get at least one email from somebody asking this question about how to set up contacts, how to contact agents, how to contact teams, or just in general how to become a professional soccer player. I'm not going to talk about the stuff that is obvious and that you need to know, like training hard, being fit, eating right, working out right. That stuff is just a given. If you don't know that or you don't know how to do that, watch my other videos because I have tons of content on that. This video is actually going to be like a step process, talking about open tryouts, combines, talking about how to contact agents, how to contact teams, stuff that actually is like steps to become a professional soccer player. If you don't know who I am, my name is Matt Sheldon. I play for St. Louis FC in the 2nd division of US professional soccer. I'm a right back and I'm 24 years old. If you already know who I am, then you're my homie. If you right now are in between the ages of 0 and 15 years old, then the only thing, and I repeat, the only thing that you should be focused on is just improving as a player. Focusing on training hard with your team, working out extra, doing extra stuff so that you are pushing past your team, so that you're getting to be one of the better players on your team, or that so that level that you're currently on is too easy. Don't focus on how to become a professional soccer player if you can't even get on the field right now and maintain a starting spot. Your number one goal needs to be to get on the field, to become a starter, and then not only become a starter, but become one of the best players on your team. That's going to be your number one goal. And the only way to do that is to train more and train harder than your peers. An example of this is when I was in high school, I was on the B team of my club team. I was 16, 17 years old and I was on the B team. I wanted to become a college player, a professional soccer player. Obviously, that's pretty much what every kid wants to become. But I wasn't focused on how to contact an agent. I wasn't focused on building up a resume. My only goal was to get on the A team. And once I got on the A team, my only goal was to become the captain or become the leading goal scorer or become the best player on that team. I'm just saying you have to have a narrow mindset of just the number one goal that's going to help you. If you feel your current team isn't challenging you or you want to try to explore new opportunities, look for tryouts from other teams. Academy teams are an excellent way to get into a professional level system and start training with professional level training to get you to reach your goals. I was never on an academy team. I was never on the state team. I was never on ODPs or regionals or any of that. You don't need to have that to become a pro, but getting the best training and the best coaches is definitely going to help. And academy systems are a great way to become a professional. So do some research about academy teams or top level club teams in your area. Find out if there's open tryouts, schedule yourself for those. If you've missed the tryouts, send the coach an email, see if you can set up a trial. Basically try to get on those teams. And that's what I personally believe, that's all you need to be focused on if you're in between the ages of 0 and 15. Just improving as a player and trying to get on better club teams, academy teams, etc. Now, if you're in between the ages of 16 and 18, hopefully you've gotten yourself onto a top level academy team or a top level club team or something of that nature. Again, I was not on an academy team, all that stuff, so it's not a do or die situation. It's obviously better if you are and you have more opportunities if you are on a top level club team or academy team or ODPs or regionals or US national team or whatever, but it's not the end of the world if you're not. If you are in an academy or a top level club team and you're doing great so far, then just keep doing what you're doing. Keep on training, keep on working hard, and keep on trying to push past your peers by doing extra training, extra work, that stuff. And keep in contact with your academy coaches to see what you need to work on and just improve your weaknesses. You're already in kind of the professional system if you're an academy team. If the coaches see that you've improved enough or that you're ready or that you're really succeeding at that level, they're going to want to bring you up to a higher level, to the professional level, or to higher age teams so that to see how you can do. It's really just about performing in trainings, performing in games, and just waiting for your opportunity to break into the professional level so you can get your chance and show what you can do. If you're not in that professional setting, you're not an academy team, or you're not like a top recruit, don't stress. Neither was I. I decided to take the college route because I felt that I wasn't ready at age 18 to go the professional route. I don't want this video to be tailored to how to get recruited to be a college soccer player because I already have done a video like that a couple years ago. I'll post that video in the description if you want to check out just some of my step-by-step guide on how to be recruited to play college soccer. I'm going to just kind of skip that and kind of go straight into the pros. So if you're in between the ages of 16 and 18 and you're not in an academy team or a top level club team or regionals, whatever, your goal basically needs to be the same as kids that are under the age of 15. Train, 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 work on developing as an athlete, work on developing as a player, work on developing your IQ, becoming a better soccer player just in general. Keep looking for opportunities such as tryouts or emailing coaches of local clubs. Try to keep on progressing a little bit up. If you're on the very lowest level of amateur soccer, look on getting onto the second lowest level of amateur soccer. Keep on looking to find teams or opportunities that just barely get you a little bit higher. Because as you do more and more and more of those, you'll start to climb and climb and climb. My jump to the professional game didn't go from a club team in Oregon straight into the pros. I went from a club soccer thing to college soccer to semi-pro to training with a professional team to going over and playing with a team over in Germany and then finally into the professional game. It was tiny little baby steps over time. People always ask me how to get scouted when they're at the very lowest level of amateur soccer. And I don't want to hurt feelings, but there are no scouts scouting the lowest level of amateur soccer or even amateur soccer pretty much in general. That movie about Goal where you're playing Sunday League in Los Angeles and then you get a scout sees you from whatever team, Liverpool, I forgot what team he is, and flies him over, honestly does not really happen ever. The MLS scouts are pretty much looking for other pro leagues and they're looking at the USL and NASL directly below them and also the top recruits from college, but they're not looking at just Sunday League soccer to find somebody to bring up to the MLS. Even in the USL, the coaches aren't looking at just amateur Sunday leagues. They're looking at PDLs or colleges or even people that come down from the MLS. They're looking at top level players. So don't ask how to be scouted if you're not in one of those top teams. And just like I said before, you can get to one of the PDL teams or whatever top level amateur teams by slowly going up and up and up. Start finding a higher level amateur team and slowly trying to find the top amateur team and slowly try to get into a semi-professional team, and then you'll be on the radar of being scouted for a professional team. So now let's move on to 18 years and older. You're no longer able to train with an academy or youth level team for a professional team, and now you really want to start the physical process of becoming a pro, contacting teams, agents, etc. So my number one thing that you need to do and that you need to have is a highlight video. Highlight video, highlight video, If you don't have a highlight video, then the number one thing that you need to be focused on right now is creating a highlight video. Save up your money, buy a camera, get a friend, a relative, a coach, etc. to film your games, and don't have them film it shaking around. Have a tripod, get them to film professionally. And I'm really stressing that you get a good camera and a tripod and someone you trust to film you, because when you beat 3 people and score that golazo, you don't want to have the footage be shaky or it miss it, because if it looks like it's homemade, they're gonna view you as an amateur. If it looks like it's professionally done, they're gonna view you as more of a professional level player. I always get people to email me saying, look, I want to become a pro or I want to go to college, but I don't have a highlight video and I don't have somebody to film. You're making excuses. You can find somebody in the fans, pay them $20 to film your game. You can buy a camera. You have to do that. This is crucial because no team is going to let you in for a trial if they can't see some footage of you. Because put yourself in their shoes. They get tons of emails from all different players from all different leagues wanting trials. They're not going to scout every single player that sends them an email, but they will scout and they will take somebody seriously who has a really high quality highlight video that impresses them. So bottom line, if you don't have a highlight video, agents won't sign you and professional level teams won't take you seriously. I have a separate video on how to make a highlight video, which I'll also put in this description, so you can check that video out on my tips and how I make my own highlight videos. I'll also put my highlight video from high school and from college and from my professional teams in the description as well, so you can see the highlight videos from varying levels of my play. Secondly, you need a CV, and a CV is pretty much a resume of all your soccer background. It talks about your clubs, your high school, your college, your semi-pro teams. It talks about trials that you're invited on. It talks about your professional teams. It talks about accolades, awards won, captains, all that stuff. I am going to make a video later on how to create a professional level CV that you can send to teams and agents and stuff like that later. But for now, I found a pretty good example on the internet of a good CV for you guys, so you can check that as well in the description. CV and highlight video are crucial. So now you have your highlight video and your CV and you're ready to start contacting teams or finding routes to become a professional soccer player. So generally there's 4 routes to become a professional soccer player, and I'm sure that you can think of another one, but in general, basically to sum up, there's 4. The first is open tryouts, open combines, and tours. Now these are all very expensive. The price ranges anywhere from $100 to $2,000 depending on the type of combine, tryout, or tour. They also don't include the cost of travel, of hotels and food, etc. So you have to take that into account also. So it's very expensive to do these. So I have done multiple open tryouts and combines and I have mixed feelings about them. Because honestly, it really is a business. You have to look at it as like, what are these companies gaining out of hosting these tours? $300 a person times 200 people is a lot of money, and they're making a lot of money. So I've gone to a lot of these open tryouts and combines, and they pretty much let anybody in. So somebody who's never played soccer before can join and try out for this professional level team, as well as somebody who really is at the professional level. So the levels very varied, and honestly, a lot of the pro teams might not even be looking to add anybody to their roster, but they just do it to show up and make money. Now, I have gone to one open tryout and got invited into their preseason, but after 2 days I was cut without that much of a real look at me. And so you have to kind of look at it as like, did they just bring you in to say for next year that they brought in 4 players from their open tryout to like advertise it for next year? So I was brought in, I was selected from the team, but at the same time, you still don't know. I don't want to bash them because I do know professional level players who have gotten their break and have really broken into the professional system from open trials and are still playing professional soccer, and they're doing great. But at the same time, I know for the majority of the people who do sign up for these open tryouts and combines that it really doesn't work out. Regardless, after the open tryout or combine, email them and try to get feedback of what you need to work on, what you did well, and just what you need to improve on for the next time that you have this opportunity. So if you really do have nothing and you do have the money to spend on an open tryout or combine or tour, and you think it'd be a good experience to learn from and to grow, why not? Go for it. Nothing really bad can happen from not taking that chance. However, if you do have other opportunities and other routes that I'm going to talk about later, take those instead. The second way to really become a professional is contacting the professional level team yourself. Now, you have to be realistic about this. If you are a player that's 18 years old, has never played professional before, don't contact an MLS level team or contact an EPL team like Arsenal and be like, hey man, I'm ready. When are you going to give me this trial? Because it's not going to happen. You have to be realistic. For example, once I graduated college, I've already played semi-professional. I didn't even contact the MLS teams because I knew that realistically they weren't going to bring in somebody who had never played professionally before and wasn't a top recruit out of college. So I focused on the USL teams, the 2nd or 3rd division of US professional soccer, to try to get a trial there. So my advice, like always, is to really do baby steps. If you are an amateur player, instead of contacting the professional level, see if you can contact the semi-professional level as well as the professional level, because most likely the semi-professional level is going to respond to your emails and be more interested in bringing you in for a trial than the professional level. I'm not saying the professional level is just going to ignore you, but realistically, you want to go slightly up and up and up. So, how to contact these teams. If you go on their website with a little bit of digging and a little bit of research, you can find emails to their front office staff, sometimes even their coaches, and sometimes there's even a form that you can fill out and send your highlight video to contact the team directly through the website. Just play around on every website because every single one's differently, but if you do your research and you really are digging through the website, you can find some emails to contact and just send your highlight video and CV. Now, don't be annoying. Don't be a pest. If they don't respond to your email, don't send them 1,000 emails saying, why aren't you responding? Because they're not responding because they're not interested. It's a little bit of hard truth, a little bit of tough love, but you have to understand that. You have to understand that contacting the team yourself is not a high percentage chance. 90% of the time, they're not even going to respond to your emails. However, you can increase your chance of them responding to your emails if you have a high-level highlight video and you have a good CV and you come from a high level of soccer background. So if you're a semi-professional player with a great highlight video and a great CV and you're sending it into a 2nd division USL club that's in need of players, you're going to have a much higher success rate of getting a chance to be invited into a trial there than if you were filmed your Sunday league game on your iPhone that's shaking around and moving, that's not edited well, and you're sending that footage into Arsenal. You have to really be realistic while still going after your goals. That's why previously in this video, the goal is to get on the highest level of amateur soccer before you go to the pros. It's much more likely that you're going to do those baby steps up to the pros than doing this rags to riches story of bottom Sunday league straight to the EPL. I don't want to crush your spirit or your dreams, but honestly, this is how the real world works. Now, in this email that you want to send to this professional team, you want to be short and concise. Coaches have very little free time, and the free time they do have, they don't want to spend it reading a 10-page email about your full history from your high school and how you felt playing in the state cup final or whatever. They quickly want to know who you are, how old you are, what position you play, and what you're looking for. For example, hi, my name is Matt Sheldon, I'm 24 years old, I play right mid or right back. I've attached my highlight video and my CV, and I'm looking for a trial for your team. I've gotten many trials from emailing clubs with a short and concise email with a very good highlight video and CV. However, I still am waiting to hear back from Arsenal. Now, the third route to become a pro is through an agent. Contacting an agent is almost exactly identical as contacting a professional team. You need the highlight video, you need the CV, you need the short, concise email, but instead of asking for a trial, you're just asking for them to represent you. Again, be realistic. An agent is not going to waste his time on somebody who he thinks is not going to become a professional level soccer player. There's a lot of stigma behind agents, but agents are really great because they can help you get trials and help you get connections to teams when otherwise you would have no connection. Agents usually have professional level coaches just a phone call away, and they can contact those teams for you and really put in a good word if they believe that you can play at that level. Now, I signed with an agent, and literally the next day he calls me up and says, pack your bags, you're going to go to Iceland for this trial, set up with this coach, this is going to pick you up. So it can really be super helpful when you don't have that much opportunities. The only thing really about agents you have to be careful of is any agent that asks for money up front. If they ask for money up front that says, look, if you give me $1,000, I can send you over to England and I can get you a trial there, don't do it. All contracts with agents should just be a portion of your salary that they get you. So any contract that they get you, they take anywhere from 5 to 15% of that contract. That way it incentivizes them to find you a good contract instead of just getting the money up front, then they don't have to work. Now, the fourth and final way to really break into the professional world is through connections. The one thing that I've really learned through my soccer career so far is that the whole soccer world is built upon these connections, and people with better connections usually get better trials. And it really is a networking business just like anything else. The more people you know, the more coaches that can give their word for you, the more agents you have, the more people you meet, the more teams you play for, and the more teammates you play with, the better your chance of building a connection that's going to lead to the professional world. I signed my first contract in America for the OC Blues through a connection of an old teammate. I was training at Sacramento Republic with Ivan Mirkovic. When he moved to OC Blues and I was over in Germany, he contacted me and basically said their team needed a right back. And he thought of me and asked if I was under contract at that time. I said I wasn't, and then I went over to America to try out. That connection of having Ivan basically give his word for me is how I got my first contract. And that's how I found that most people continue to get contracts. It's one of those things that once you break into the semi-professional or professional world, you start getting more and more connections. And the more connections you have, the more likely you are to get another contract. The same thing when I went over to Germany, I had an old coach that used to coach for me back when I was 12 reach out to me and come to a game. I started talking to him and I talked about how I wanted to go and play professionally, and he said, you know what? I have a friend who's from Germany, why don't I put you guys in contact? I met with the German coach and he basically trained with me, he watched some of my games, and once he basically gave me the go-ahead, he brought me over to Germany and contacted teams on my behalf. Now, he wouldn't have contacted teams on my behalf if I wouldn't have talked to my old coach from when I was younger, or if he wouldn't have thought that I was ready to go play in Germany. So following these connections is key on building a successful career. But the thing is, how do you develop these connections? Play soccer, play pickup, play for more teams, play for more coaches, talk to teammates, email, do open trials, do everything, explore every opportunity, talk to everybody. Talk to your old college coach, talk to your old youth coach, call them on the phone, send them emails, meet up with them for coffee. Everything you do, every single connection could lead to another person that leads to another person that leads to your first professional contract. If I wouldn't have invited my old coach from 12 years old to my game and I wouldn't have talked to him, the connection to Germany never would have happened. Same thing, if I never would have been a practice player for Sacramento Republic, I would never have really met Ivan Mirkovic, and he never would have brought me in for the OC Blues. At 22 years old, I actually asked my old coach, how do you build connections in the professional world? Because I thought I had zero. However, I really started looking at my life and I realized that I had tons of connections. I had coaches from college who could act as a reference for me. I talked to them and all of a sudden they were contacting professional level teams on my behalf. They set up a trial for the San Jose Earthquakes U23 team. And that team, I met a ton of people who were in the professional world. I talked to the coach who even brought up the possibility of bringing me to Costa Rica. I played for a semi-professional team, Ventura County Fusion, and I met more coaches and more teammates. I talked to the coach down there and he said, you know what, I can talk to the LA Galaxy 2 team for you. So really, the more and more teams and people and everything that you do, and the more you advance up baby steps, the more connections they're gonna build. But if you stay in your comfort zone and you keep playing for the same team in the same league, and you keep doing everything the same, and you never go out of that comfort zone and try something new with a different team or different coach, or try something that's gonna challenge you a little bit more, you're not gonna build those connections, and not building those connections could make you miss your opportunity of becoming a professional. I was always constantly looking for something just to bring me a little bit higher, playing for a slightly better team, playing for a coach with a little bit more connections, reaching that next baby step over and over and over again. When I was over in Germany, I was just playing pickup futsal with some random guys at a futsal court, and I heard somebody speaking English who had an American accent. So I went over and talked to him and just said, "Hey, where are you from? What's going on?" He started talking. I said I was over here trying to look for some teams. And he goes, "You know what? My best friend is a scout. You should talk to him." He gave me his number. I started talking to that scout, and that actually led me to a trial over in Germany. It didn't work out, but just meeting people and really playing more soccer helps you build more connections. I was introduced to an agent who wanted to sign me because one of my college teammates was signed with him. And I was talking to my college teammate. I said I wasn't very happy with my current agent. He said, "You know what? Talk to mine. I'll give you his number." I got his number, I sent a highlight video, and just like that, I had an agent that was interested in me, and he was gonna send me off to a couple teams for trials. So I built all these connections and all this stuff because I was constantly playing, I was constantly challenging myself to push higher, play for new teams, play for more coaches, meet new teammates, try new experiences. I was constantly pushing outside my comfort zone. So if you feel like your career is pretty stagnant, or you feel like nothing's happening, or you're not building any new connections, and you've been playing for the same team for the last 3 years, and the same stuff is happening, maybe it's time to really push outside your comfort zone and try something new. So there is no one real way on how to become a professional soccer player. And even on my life, I've done open tryouts, I've done open combines, I've done tours, I've contacted teams, I've contacted old coaches, I've contacted the teams myself, I've tried to go through agents, I've contacted old teammates. I've literally done everything because I was just like, I'm gonna try every single opportunity and every single thing, because you never know which certain path is all of a sudden gonna lead to your contract. And 99.999% of the time, it's not some rags to riches story where you're playing Sunday league at a very low level, a scout sees you, and boom, you're on the plane to go try out for Arsenal. It's a very gradual staircase up to success. Constantly playing for a slightly better team in a slightly better league, constantly doing a little bit better, training a little bit harder, exploring a new opportunity, meeting more people, playing for a new coach, and all of a sudden your connections start branching out like a tree all over the place. And then all of a sudden, one of those branches is gonna come up with a great opportunity that you're going to explore. And then if you are ready for that opportunity, you're fit and you're sharp, and you take it, that could be your first contract. So I hope this video shed some light on how to become a professional level soccer player. It really is a lot of work over years and years and years, and it's just all about working hard, performing in games, meeting people, meeting connections, and exploring opportunities. So I hope you guys liked it, and I hope this helped you guys out.